Coming up on Cedar Valley Today, the bloody Ukrainian crisis hits home right here in Iowa.
And a local author is here to tell us how you can have a second chance at life despite your past regrets.
And the classic children's comic strip Charlie Brown is brought to life in a local musical production. This is Cedar Valley Today.
Kind of crazy. Ever since they started in November, the big ones, we've been watching like live feeds. I don't think I've ever felt so much pride for being Ukrainian, or just for seeing how people fight for our freedom, and it's been kind of exciting to see how everyone comes together.
Decades in Ukraine, with the people protesting the government and former President Yankovic's policies that many believed were only benefiting him and a close group of his acquaintances. Hello and welcome to Cedar Valley Today. I'm Kelsey Bemis.
And I'm Nicole Lyons. Cedar Valley Today's Jacqueline Schutte is joining us now to tell us how the Ukrainian riots are affecting the lives in Iowa.
Lilia Bubby is a senior at the University of Iowa studying to be a dentist. At the age of 11, she and her family left her home country of Ukraine. Today, her family, who is still in the country, has joined the masses of other citizens protesting in the streets.
You always think that, I want to be safe and at home and watch from far away, but no, they've all been taking an active part in it, and that's really amazing.
As many as 100 people died in the protests when the violence escalated and the policemen were authorized to open fire and to clear the country's Independence Square.
I have family back home, and they also have been, standing and protesting, and my aunt has been, after work, she goes and brings food for the people, and they just kind of all came together and just fighting for their rights, and it's been incredible. I feel so proud of all of them, and I want to be there with them.
One of the victims of the protest was a 17-year-old boy from Bubby's hometown who was shot by a sniper. Around 20,000 people came to his funeral in his honor. The police unit called the Berkut has been disbanded. The 5,000 members of the group were responsible for many of the protesters' deaths.
It didn't feel like the home I knew. I always known Ukraine as being united, even though we had the separation between Russian part and Ukrainian, we always kept together, and that's just the way I've always known it. And it was hard to hear things like that because, the whole country being together, that's Ukraine. I think it's all for the better. People protesting, they're voicing their opinions and saying what they want, and hopefully things will turn out better.
Yankovic has a warrant for his arrest, but is missing. Ukrainians have taken over his mansions and are finding official documents, possibly revealing further corruption in the government. I did try to talk to some more former Ukraine citizens, but they were hesitant to discuss their political opinions.
Thanks, Jackie. More than 50 employees at the University of Northern Iowa may have had their identities stolen. Faculty and staff received an error code when filing their federal tax returns. Officials say there doesn't appear to be a connection between the reported errors and the university. They have contacted the IRS and the Division of Criminal Investigations to find possible sources of the problem. The university has established a helpline and is offering free credit monitoring.
UNI also held their 8th annual African American Read-In yesterday at Mocker Union and Broad Library. Sesame Street's Elmo, performance artist Nathaniel Zulu, and award-winning author and illustrator Kadir Nelson all made guest appearances. The event's intention was to inspire area children to learn about African American history and its culture.
The most rewarding part of my career is meeting children and adults who read my books and get excited about my books and find themselves reflected in my pages, and hopefully that will allow them to see the beauty that's inside of them.
Hawkeye Community College is offering a new class about golf courses and country club management. Students taking these classes will learn how to run a golf course, from everything running the country club to taking care of the grass. Hawkeye is the only college in the state of Iowa which offers training for business, hospitality, and grounds operation in one course.
There'll be many opportunities for students to go out and work as assistant managers, assistant superintendents, to get involved with golf courses throughout the state of Iowa, or even outside of the state of Iowa. Between Minnesota, Wisconsin, and Iowa, we have the largest number of golf courses per capita in the country.
For those of you in the Cedar Valley looking for an event to go to this weekend, the Wartburg Math Educators Club is hosting their annual Pie Run. The run starts at 9 a.m. Early registration is $15 and day of registration is $20. Runners get a t-shirt, an entrance to the race, and a free pie. The race starts at the W. We'll now turn to Cedar Valley Today's Elizabeth Jewett to take a look at our first forecast. What's in store for us?
Thanks, Nicole. We're actually going to see another cold one today. Not really a surprise for us here in Iowa, but as we start off in the morning, it's going to be about -1 degrees with a wind chill advisory until about 9 a.m., so keep that in mind as you're going to work. Then as we move on throughout the day, there's going to be possible snowfall after 5 o'clock p.m. And then as we move on tomorrow, it's going to be even a bigger chance of snow at about 90%. We're going to see about 1 to 3 inches throughout the day. We're going to start off in the morning at 8 a.m., only about 3, and it's not going to get much warmer. So it's going to be another cold one for us here in Iowa. Not much of a surprise.
Seems to be the theme lately.
Yes, it does.
All right.
Drive safe.
Now, with these freezing temperatures, city's officials have urged Waverly residents to keep a stream of water running to avoid freezing pipes.
Because of this, residents have noticed an increase in their utility bills. The city will now credit residents' accounts if their utility bill has more than doubled from the previous year during January, February, or March.
Waverly residents are being asked to check those bills. If they find their water bill has doubled between the last year, they are advised to call the city accounting department at 319-352-4252. And coming up after the break, find out where you can see the live stage production of Charlie Brown the Musical. We'll be right back.
And later, learn about moving past your past from one author's writing in self-help. See you in 2 minutes.
Welcome back to Cedar Valley Today. For the first time since being created over 2 decades ago, nutrition labels are getting a new design. Michelle Obama unveiled the design yesterday. The labels will put a stronger emphasis on calories by using big, bold numbers to draw the eye. A line showing the amount of sugar has been added and by the manufacturers is also new. The calories from fat line is also gone. Arizona Governor Jan Brewer has vetoed a bill that caused controversy earlier this week. Many feared that Bill 1062 would have given businesses legal backing to deny service to gay and lesbian customers. Following the veto, opponents of the bill cheered outside and chanted, "Thank you, Jan." The American Civil Liberties Union filed a lawsuit Tuesday in Nebraska on behalf of 2 convicted murderers who wish to get married. The trouble for Nicole Wetherell and Paul Gilpatrick is that 50 miles separate the two. Nebraska requires inmates be in the same room to get married, but the ACLU says the 8th Amendment gives prisoners the right to pursue marriage. Identity theft is the Federal Trade Commission's top consumer complaint again. The FTC released its annual report on consumer complaints yesterday. 14% of the 2 million complaints received in 2013 were related to identity theft. Americans reported losing more than $1.6 billion to fraud last year. And an expert who treats lice says selfies could be a cause of the spread of the bugs. Knit Free Noggins owner Carrie Maddage says she is treating about 35 to 40% more teenage girls at her 2 Chicago locations. She says lice can jump from head to head when girls touch their heads together for group photos. She suggests avoiding direct contact.
Charlie Brown is visiting the Cedar Valley this weekend. Blackhawk Children's Theater is performing Charles M. Schultz's You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown till this Sunday. Artistic director of the show, Anita Ross, is here to tell us more about this beloved show. Now, can you tell me a little bit more about the play? What are the plot lines?
The show is about the day in the life of Charlie Brown, and it features most of his friends from the Peanuts comic strip. So it starts out first thing in the morning, and it kind of encapsulates the whole year in one day, because we get April Fool's Day and Valentine's Day and summertime when the kite never stays in the air and that sort of thing in the whole series. Okay. So it goes through a course of Charlie Brown's day.
How was this play chosen for the Blackhawks?
We were looking for a good challenge, not just for the community, but also for the actors. One of the things we don't do very often at Blackhawk Children's Theater is musicals. So we wanted a challenge for the actors because we have a really great group. There's a lot of talent in the Cedar Valley, and we had a really great group of kids that I knew were coming up. So it was chosen because the story is so lovely and it's so nostalgic, but the comic strip still runs, so it's still timely. as well as a good challenge for everybody.
And how many kids are involved, and what age ranges do you have?
I have 12 kids on stage, and then I have, I think about 10 others helping backstage or running lights and sound and that sort of thing. The youngest, I believe, is 12. She's on stage, and then I go up to adults. But on stage, it's 12 to 17.
Okay. And can you tell me a little bit about your position and kind of what goes into the preparation for the show?
Sure. I'm the artistic director of Black Hawk Children's Theater. So what I do is I have a hand in selecting. I have a selection committee, so we select the shows for the year, and then I direct all of them. And so each show, of course, has to have its own sort of ebb and flow. For example, right now, not only am I finishing this run this weekend, but I'm also starting on 12 Dancing Princesses. So there's always something new around the bend. So I'm always directing, and then I teach as well.
Who is this show? What age ranges is this?
It's for kids that are young and young at heart, because it really is a show that grandparents can bring their grandkids to introduce them to the Peanuts, and then everybody in between. It's such a lovely story that's still important. It's still timely. The Charlie Brown, the sort of lovable loser, everyday non-hero kind of guy that never gets the Valentine, never gets to kick the football through the uprights because Lucy always pulls it away, but we love him anyway.
All right, thank you so much for joining us, Anita. Again, the performances are tonight through Sunday night at the Black Hawk Children's Theater in Waterloo. Later in sports, the baseball team kicked off their season last weekend in Memphis as reigning Iowa Conference champs. We preview what's in store for them this season. And we'll have a look at your full forecast. We'll be back in 2 minutes.
We're going to start with our full forecast for today. Today we're going to start off at 8 o'clock a.m. It's going to be pretty cold with a wind chill advisory until about 9 a.m. And then as we move on throughout the day, we're going to possibly see some snow after 5 o'clock. So keep that in mind as coming home from work. And then as we move on, for our statewide weather, we're going to be seeing some different temperatures throughout the state. Mason City is going to be the coldest that we're going to see on the map today. Waterloo at about 21. Cedar Rapids, we're looking at about 24. Dubuque at 22. And Des Moines is going to be about 29. Sioux City is going to be a high of about 28 degrees. And Council Bluff, we're looking at a high of about 32. And then as we move on to our national highs, we're going to see some different varying temperatures throughout the board. We're going to see in the 50s, the low 50s in Seattle, Denver, and Houston. LA, we're looking at a high of about 63. Chicago, New York are the coldest that we're going to see on this map at 27 and 18. And then as we move on for our 5-day, we are going to see some possible snow on Saturday. Sunday, we're going to see some cloudy skies. And then as we move on throughout the week for our 5-day forecast, we're going to see Monday and Tuesday going to be partly sunny at a high of only 7 and 14 degrees. Wednesday, we're going to see some cloudy skies. So we're going to be a little bit warmer, but it's still going to be pretty cold for our Iowa weather. So we're going to send it back to you guys.
Thanks, Elizabeth. Our next guest is Kevin Hansen.
He has had 2 best-selling books, a successful blog, and has had his work featured on national news outlets such as CNN, Dr. Phil, and the Huffington Post.
The theme of all his work is Secret Regrets. Can you tell us a little bit more about this project?
Well, it's a website that I started in 2007, and it basically gives people a chance to anonymously confess the biggest regret of their life. And a lot of times people have regrets, and a lot of times they keep these regrets inside. And this is really an outlet for people to kind of get those regrets off their chest in a way that is safe and in a place where they can really feel safe to get these regrets out. In a community where that I've built where they can get some feedback and get some support, where maybe they don't feel safe talking about it publicly, but in this community where I've built, they can get some really nice encouragement from people that they don't even know.
Okay, now what do you think why is it important to look back on one's regrets or to kind of?
Well, I think that we can really kind of learn from our past mistakes, and I think that if we don't look back and we kind of just keep it all inside, we have an opportunity to really we don't have that opportunity to learn from them. So we really have to look back to really learn from those mistakes.
All right, you also have some books. Can you tell us a little bit about what's in your books?
Yeah, the books are really kind of a compilation from the website, the best of the best of things that have been confessed on secretregrets.com. Over the past number of years, we've had a lot of people that have confessed the biggest regrets of their life on secretregrets.com. Actually, more than 25,000 people have posted, and so some of those stories are very, very shocking and very, very heartfelt and very honest and very, very raw. So I went back and I really kind of handpicked the best stories that really talked about things that we can all really learn from. And so not only the best stories that were submitted on secretregrets.com, but the responses to those stories that came in through the people that went on and said, hey, I understand what you're going through, and you might think that you're alone in those regrets, but I've been through the same thing, and I've been able to get past my regret, and here's some things that I've learned from that experience that might help you with your regret. So it really, the books are a great way for people that are either struggling with regrets of their own to learn that, yeah, I can get past those types of things too. But it's also a great read too for really a great look at what's going on in humanity out there, of the types of things that people are regretting in life, and how we can really kind of all, no matter what we're going through in our own personal lives, we can get past these things.
Okay, so you've had the books, obviously the successful blog, the national attention. So what's next for Secret Regrets?
I am working on a third book, because what I've learned is, no matter what has been posted on Secret Regrets, there's always something new, and we can all learn from other people's experiences and other people's regrets and other people's mistakes. So I'm continuing to collate the stories and put these amazing guides to life, basically, is what they are, what these books have become. So I am working on a third one as well. I'm also working to continue to get out and tell the stories through some speaking presentations. I speak a lot at different colleges and different organizations, because at those events it's fun to share these stories and to get people to kind of really to focus on what their own personal regrets are in a live audience situation as well, because a lot of times people think, I don't have regrets, but once they start thinking about it and realizing, there is maybe something I really need to kind of focus on, maybe there is something in life that is holding me back, and just acknowledging that regret can be the first step in actually taking that first step to putting it behind you.
All right, well, thank you so much for joining us, and we'll be right back after the break.
Cedar Valley Today, I'm Seth Nutting. After winning their first round game on the road last Tuesday, the women needed one more win to make it to the tournament championship, with the third time be the charm for the Knights. Alyssa Sager starts things off for the Knights, getting the open look and draining the three-point shot. She would lead all scorers with 19 points. Burrows would contribute as well, making the Knights fade away to tie the game at 7 apiece early on. On the other end, Lori Obendorf rebounds the missed shot by Kathleen Cabrera, getting the tough putback and foul. Wartburg responded as Mary Brown gets her own offensive rebound and putback to keep the Knights within striking distance. Later, Kaylee Cladovo gets the ball in the low post and finishes strong off the glass to get the and one. Before the half, Loris would start to pull away as Wheeler hits the jumper, putting the Dewhawks up 39-26 at half. In the second, Cabrera would show off her passing skills, finding an open Victory May for two. A few possessions later, Lauren Byrne hits the off-balance jumper, and the route was on for Loris. Cabrera would team up again as she finds teammate May for the open layup, and Halstead would do all she could late in the game to rally the Knights, but it would not be enough as the Knights would lose by a final score of 64-51. The Knights finished the season 12-15 overall and 5-9 in conference play. The baseball team started their 2014 campaign last weekend in Memphis. Cedar Valley Today's Justin Zacconi previews the team's chances of capturing their first back-to-back Iowa Conference title since the Bush administration.
Competing as conference champions can be tough for a lot of programs if they don't have the right combination of veteran players and experienced coaching. Fortunately for the Wartburg baseball team, those are available in spades. For the first time since 2008, the squad hits the diamond as conference champions since their 14-year run ended 4 years ago. Head coach Joe Hulse has reminded his team of the expectation of that era.
You know, our baseball program's got a lot more tradition at at repeating championships than not.
Helping lead the charge for the Knights this year is preseason All-American Ryan Powers. Powers missed the NCAA playoffs last year after dislocating his kneecap and is more than ready to get back to playing ball.
I mean, it was real tough to sit on the bench and have to be in a different spot for the postseason, but I'm happy that with the way the guys played down there, and it's definitely motivation to get back. I would like to be a part of it.
Powers, along with Iowa Conference Pitcher of the Year Ryan Doty, struggled with injuries late last season, and the Knights were swept in 3 games at the Central Regional Tournament. This year, Powers headlines a class of 9 seniors who have some unfinished business. Fellow classmate Michael Shinstock knows that dodging the injury bug can help the team reach its full potential.
Last year just happened to come at an unfortunate time for us, and this year we're all hoping that we all stay healthy, and if we do stay healthy, we have a great opportunity of going places this year.
Powers and company certainly hope to get another chance to finish what was taken away from them last year. Reporting for Cedar Valley Today, I'm Justin Zacconi.
Circuit for updates. We'll be back in 2 minutes.
Thanks for watching Cedar Valley Today. Be sure to join us again next Wednesday.
And don't forget to log on to the Wartburg Circuit for the latest updates. We'll see you next week.